Hello my dear friends, you're on the Military Summary channel. In this video we're going to discuss the most important events that took place during the previous 12 hours. We have lots of very interesting updates, so let's start. During the previous 12 hours, during the previous night between the 13th and the 14th of December of 2025, both the Russians and the Ukrainians continued attacking each other with drones and missiles. The Russians are saying that during the previous night between the 11 p.m. of Moscow time on December 13th to the 7 a.m. of the Moscow time on December 14th, the Russians managed to bring down 141 drones of the armed forces of Ukraine. Later, pro-Ukrainian sources published lots of pictures, lots of videos where we can see how exactly the Ukrainians were attacking the Russians during the previous night. So this is the map. This is the map of approximate routes of Ukrainian attacks. So we can see lots of them. 141 drones were brought down by Russians. And according to this picture, the Ukrainians were attacking in the northern direction. There were reports that Ukrainians attacked the Sloviansk region. The Ukrainians were trying to get to the city of Moscow. The Ukrainians attacked the territory of Crimea, and the Ukrainians were trying to attack deep inside of the southern part of the Russian Federation. But if you take a look at this picture, you might see that there are not just red arrows, there are blue and green arrows in the southern part, in the bottom part of the picture, which means that Ukrainians were using not just drones, Ukrainians were using missiles as well. So during the previous night, we received videos from different parts of Russia. For example, this is the settlement of Uripinsk, and here, according to information we have, Ukrainians managed to damage an oil refinery in this area. But the Russians this morning strike back. The Russians were attacking mainly the region of Odessa. Once again, if you take a look at this picture, you might see that missiles were launched from the Odessa region. So these yellow, these green, and these blue arrows are coming exactly from the Odessa region. And this is the reason probably why the Russians were attacking the Odessa region during the previous days. I would like to remind you that yesterday the Russians attacked this territory. The Russians attacked first this vessel. Most likely the Russians supposed or thought that this vessel brought arms, missiles or parts or different equipment for the armed forces of Ukraine for this massive attack. So that is why most likely the Russians damaged the vessel. Furthermore, the Russians destroyed almost completely the entire energy infrastructure of Odessa region. And after this massive attack that took place during the previous night, the Russians began bombing and attacking the Odessa region once again. During the previous night, we received lots of videos from this area. For example, in this video, we can see the partial blackouts of the Odessa region, according at least to the author of this video. Furthermore, we have this video. This video was published this morning, and here we can see a drone, a Geraint drone that was flying towards objects and military or critical infrastructure of the Odessa region. Furthermore, today the sources stated that for the first time since the beginning of the special military operation, the Russians attacked the Odessa region with FAP, with bombs. So they managed to do this. They were attacking the territory of Odessa region from the Crimea. So this is the situation. Too many strikes, too many attacks from both sides, and obviously we understand that both the Russians and the Ukrainians are trying to get best cards, good cards, trump cards before talks that are going to take place today on the territory of the European countries. The Ukrainians stated that during the previous night they managed to bring down 139 drones and missiles that were launched from the Russian side. That the Russians launched 139 drones and Ukrainians managed to bring down just 110. So both, once again, Ukrainians and Russians are trying to get best cards, best negotiation positions before negotiations themselves. And today we got report from the United States of America about the proposal that Europe and Ukraine are going to hand over to the United States of America. The Ukrainian version of the peace plan sent to the US rejects the withdrawal of troops from Donbas and the abandonment of NATO, according to the New York Times. The new 20-point peace plan draft, which Kiev presented as a counter-offer to the American one, enshrines Ukraine's refusal to cede control of Donbas. 5 Western officials familiar with the plan's contents told the New York Times. Plan states that Ukraine must retain control over the remaining Ukrainian armed forces those territories in the east. According to Trump's peace plan, Kiev was supposed to cede all of Donbas, according to the senior European Union and US officials. Kiev also removed the US position on renunciation of the country's right to join NATO, according to senior Western officials. So this is the plan that today the United States of America, Ukraine, and Europe are going to discuss. According to information we have, this is going to happen on the territory of Germany. So we'll see what is going to be next with this, but obviously the situation is very difficult. Furthermore, the Ukrainians, before this meeting, I would like to remind you, launched their major counter-offensive operation in the area of the city of Kupiansk, and probably the situation around the city, Zelensky is going to use also to improve his position, his negotiation positions during the upcoming talks. As for the city of Kupiansk itself, during the previous 12 hours, we received additional changes. So this is the situation by the end of the 12th of December of 2025. Let's rewind a bit further. This is the end of the 11th, this is the 12th, this is the 13th, and this is the 14th of December of 2025. The Ukrainians, according to information we have, according to different mappers, managed to improve their positions around the Yubileyny micro-district in the southwestern part of the city of Kupiansk. Furthermore, the Ukrainians improved their positions around the Korolenko Street in the northwestern part of the settlement. Furthermore, different mappers expanded a gray zone in the northwestern part of the settlement. So these are the changes between the dates, right, exactly from this, let's say, part of the city of Kupiansk. So the situation remains tense. Ukrainians continue counteroffensive, but most likely when talks on the territory of Europe finish today, most likely Ukrainians will finish their counteroffensive operation in the area of the city of Kupiansk. They need good cards, they need more weapons, they need to have better positions and better. They need to have a better draft of the peaceful settlement, of documents of the peaceful settlement of the conflict. Now let's talk about the serious direction where the Russians recently have launched the Sloviansk offensive operation. The Russians, as of now, are focused to improve their positions in the vicinity and in the area of Seversky Donetsk River. The Ukrainians today reported that they managed to finish the reconstruction of the Izum-Sloviansk road. This is the main supply road that Ukrainians currently have in this direction. As you can see, this road was completely protected with the protection nets, and Ukrainians made a post about this today. They are saying that now this road is under complete control, completely secured. The road is completely improved, because we know that this is the main problem for Ukrainians during every single battle that been taking place since the beginning of this special military operation. The Russians establish control over the main logistic lines, it's just a matter of time when this or that town or city falls in the Russian hands. So that is why the Ukrainians improve their positions here, and the Ukrainians are trying to tell us that they are ready to fight with the Russians in this area, and that they're not going to withdraw their positions from this territory. The Russians from their side improve their positions as well. So these are the changes on the ground in the area of the settlements of Dibrovo and Ozerna. Today several neutral mappers stated that Russians improved their positions, and as we can see, according to this configuration of the front line, both villages are about to be taken by Russians. Furthermore, the Russians improved their positions to the west of the settlement of Seversk. This is how we remember the situation. The Russians began their offensive operation in this area, major offensive operation, several days ago, and now we see that the Russians are moving and moving and moving, and we see that Ukrainians are still haven't managed to stabilize the situation. The Russians continue offensive operation without any probably huge resistance from the Ukrainian side. Now let's move further and let's discuss the situation in the area of the city of Konstantinovka. We have small changes. The Russians indeed improved their positions around the settlement of Bereztok. The Russians began offensive operation in this direction from the settlement by the name of Ivanopolia. Furthermore, the Russians, according to different updates, managed to improve their positions and to capture this stronghold along the N30 road, N32 road between the cities of Konstantinovka and Chasiv Yar. In this video, we can see how Ukrainians were attacking positions of the armed forces of the Russian Federation with FPV drones. This episode took place right exactly at this point. Based on this video, we adjusted the map in this area. As for the city of Pokrovsk, during the previous 24 hours, we haven't received anything special. Probably the most important video is coming from the 0525 road. The videos, two videos, were published by pro-Ukrainian sources, and here we can see how Russians were regrouping in this area with the purpose to continue offensive operation further in the direction of the settlement of Grishina. So there are lots of videos how Russians were ambushed right exactly at this point, but from the other side, this video confirms that Russians have possibilities to concentrate their forces in the northwestern part of the settlement with the purpose to attack further in the direction of the settlement of Grishina, and currently there are very heavy clashes for the village of Grishina already. As for the Zaporozhye direction, during the previous 24 hours, during the previous 12 hours, we received report that Russians improved their positions along R85 road. And right before we started making this video, several sources stated that Russians managed to capture the settlement of Varvarovka. So we haven't received a video yet, but I believe that the video would be published in coming hours, and most likely the Minister of Defense of the Russian Federation will confirm this information. And if this is true, then we will discuss the situation in detail during the evening update. So the Russians once again managed to take the last settlement on the Russian side of the river of Gaichul, which means that the battle for the Russian side of the river has finished. Russians now will try to move further in the western direction, and it seems that Russians are going to cross the river of Gaichul with the purpose to take under control positions of the armored forces of Ukraine on the Ukrainian side, which will be a very, very important step towards the city of Zaporozhye itself. And that's it for the short video on military summary. Channel reminds we condemn any violence in the world. Thank you for your watching. Subscribe to my channel, put your likes, join my Patreon, and have a good day. Bye bye.